Novak Djokovic is through to the round of 16 at Wimbledon 2023 after defeating Stanislav the Manislav Wawrinka on center court. Wimbledon's shaking his finger, or wagging it, if you will, at some haters in the crowd who were hoping Djokovic would lose that set and have to push the match to the next day. No, Djokovic doesn't do that. He leaves that to the losers like Taylor Fritz and Yannick Hoffman, Andy Murray, and Stef Tsitsipas. That's exactly what happened this time yesterday, 24 hours ago.
The sound that he made, it was pretty scary.
It was pretty scary, wasn't it? Okay, it was not that part exactly. Right after that part, Andy Murray jumped up, hit one serve in. Tsitsipas hit it out. He won the set. They came back today, and Murray, of course, lost the match. Now, the story, I had Murray winning that match in my draw. My draw for a year where there's not a lot of obvious favorites on the grass, and grass being an unpredictable surface, the most of the four majors in our sport, for sure. I'm pretty proud of my picks here. I've got a lot of great numbers here, stats on how good my accuracy is. Anyways, I had Murray winning that match against Tsitsipas yesterday, and this is part of it, right? They just played at the Hugo Boss Open in Stuttgart, and this was last year, not this year. Anyways, they had recently played on grass, and Murray showed us all what he thinks of Tsitsipas' ability to play on grass. So take a look at this. The key takeaway here, and you're going to see the change on the next screen, on the next stat, said Tsitsipas was mostly hitting backhand slice. Go to this year's match at Wimbledon, and Tsitsipas goes from hitting about 80% slice to 34% slice. So obviously, we've all known it for a long time. Stef Tsitsipas, his one-hand backhand is fine when he's hitting topspin. He can hit it really big, especially if he steps in and takes it early. It can be really dangerous. But the slice backhand on Tsitsipas, not very good. Wawrinka, very good backhand slice. Dominic Thiem, pretty good backhand slice. Federer, obviously, greatest backhand slice, but he's not playing anymore. Tsitsipas, one-handed backhand on the tour, not a very good slice. Grigor Dimitrov, good slice. I always have him with a chance to do well at Wimbledon because of that and a few other things, of course. Anyway, so Murray and Team Murray know, let's get to the Tsitsipas backhand. And you could see it, especially in those first two sets yesterday, first three sets yesterday, really. You could see it that he knew he can't slice anymore, right? This Team Tsitsipas is like, don't slice so much. We know what can happen. The slice is just too. Yeah, sometimes you hit a good slice, Steph, but sometimes it floats, it's short, gives Murray time to get into the court, take it early, and go to net. A lot of times in this match, you'd see Tsitsipas slice the ball and Murray find a way into net, right after that shot or quickly after that. So Team Tsitsipas knows not to slice a lot, and Team Andy Murray knows we got to get to that backhand. The problem is, when Murray hit it slow, let's take a look, another graphic. Where is it? Take a look at this now. Knowing how much Murray was trying this, you'd say Tsitsipas did a pretty good job, but knowing how well Tsitsipas moves, even on grass, he did slip more than Andy Murray. He only slipped that one time. Steph did have a few slips in that match, but knowing his movement on grass, I guess, is getting a little better. He looks like he's slipping less and maybe recovering faster when he does slip compared to him just falling all over the place years ago. But knowing that Murray's trying to do that, I'd say Tsitsipas did a pretty good job making it forehands on his first shot after serve. That's what this stat is. And Murray did a fairly good job knowing how well Tsitsipas was moving to make him find some backhands. The problem is when Murray had to hit it fast and hard, Tsitsipas just always came back with, speed to speed, spin that thing right back. And when Murray said, okay, well, let's go with something off speed and encourage Tsitsipas to slice or change it up on him, he had to hit it slower, and it was never fast enough to actually force Tsitsipas to hit a forehand. He always run around his backhand when he had just enough time. So that was really the story of the match. And then this conversion score, points won in attack. Murray's winning more, but look at the number there. 10 out of 13. Tsitsipas is 15 out of 23, and this is when things were looking better for Murray in the match. I'm sure when this stat came from. Can't remember exactly. But obviously, yeah, Murray was winning a little bit more, but Tsitsipas was attacking more. And then look, this is why he's so great, because he really did everything he could to make his game. Djokovic was always a great defender, but then he became so much better in offense. And look at this. We think of Stan the Man as being such an offensive player, which he is. He's 54% of the time winning 14 out of 26 attacking points where he's obviously on the front foot on offense. And, Djokovic is bringing that number down. Stan's number winning percentage will be higher against most people. But look how often Djokovic is attacking and how often he was winning against Stan. This is, I think this is after the second set. So maybe some of the stats in the third set would make this look better for Stan. But regardless, Djokovic, 45 points where he's on attack. He's almost always on offense here. And he's winning 91% of the time. The Djoker is outstanding. Now, going back to Tsitsipas, there's two ways to look at this match with Andy Murray and Tsitsipas. One, it's a match that the media blew up and turned into a big deal that really isn't that big of a deal because it's a match between two guys that have no chance of winning Wimbledon this year, or maybe ever, right? I know Murray's won it, but with the metal hip, the new robot, half man, half machine, Andy Murray, is he going to win Wimbledon again? Even though he said this is his best chance, probably not. That's one way to look at it. That Tsitsipas, he had a hard time beating Murray. How's he going to beat Djokovic here? Impossible, right? He could have even beat Stan Wawrinka here, who Djokovic just handled fairly easily. Although Stan had some serious chances. I think he almost was shocked he was up like 5-2 or 5-3 serving, 2 points to serve in the tiebreak in the third set. I think for a moment, Wawrinka kind of got nervous, just kind of surprised, like, wow, I have a chance to push Novak, and who knows what could have happened. I still said, a friend of mine asked me, do you think Stan can win? I said, I guess it's possible because Stan could just maybe blast Djokovic with some serious firepower, which it looked like he was kind of doing in that third set at times. But I said, no matter what Stan does, no matter how close he gets, no matter how great he plays the best of his life. Maybe not the best of his life, because when he's played the best in his life, he's beaten Djokovic in the past. But still, if he plays the best he's capable of today at this age, this stage in his career, Djokovic wins in 5 no matter what. That's what I was saying. Anyways, I think Stan, thinking about that, saying, hey, I actually have a chance to win this set, and maybe who knows what can happen if I can get into a fourth set. We can come back tomorrow. I think he kind of froze up a little and got a little nervous. Anyways, the second way to look at Tsitsipas beating Murray is, let's take Murray at his word. He said, I think I'm still one of the top 5 players on grass in the world right now. And I don't think that's super crazy, because you see all these guys in the draw, older guys who just have some experience on the surface who are able to find a win, like Guido Pella would be a good example you see right here. Anyways, guys with just a little, like David Goffin, guys with just a little experience are able to beat some younger guys who maybe on other surfaces off of grass they would be losing to right now, right? David Goffin's been pretty much terrible this year. Looking through here again, where's a name of somebody? Fucsovics has been doing really bad lately, but he's able to pick up some wins here. I believe him and Medvedev play tomorrow. Yeah, because I haven't checked that off yet as a correct call yet. I have Meds winning that match. Did pretty good. I placed a lot of these guys. Like even Raonic, who hasn't played in years and was still able to get a win here. Probably wouldn't win on any other surface anywhere else on tour, Someone like Eubanks. I know he's not an older guy with a lot of experience, but he's a guy with the special skill set, like a nice slice backhand and a huge serve that can work here, where he can beat guys that maybe he wouldn't beat, like Cam Norrie on other surfaces. Can you imagine Chris Eubanks playing Cam Norrie on clay? Anyways, so yeah, do we take Murray at his word? Maybe Murray is one of the best players on grass. He is moving better than he has been since he got the metal hip, but compared to the last time he won Wimbledon before half man, half machine cyborg Murray, he'll never move like that again, obviously. Not even close. But he's getting better moving since he had to do this metal hip. Now, Tsitsipas, that's the second way. I'm taking a long time to explain the two ways to look at this match. One, there are a couple of bozos that can't win Wimbledon. Forget them. Two, maybe Murray is special on grass. Maybe Tsitsipas has turned a corner, and maybe he'll be somewhat of a threat on grass to some guys not named Novak Djokovic. One thing I remember seeing Tsitsipas do a lot over the years is slipping and falling on grass all the time. As you can see, it was still happening to poor Tsitsipas. And I want to play this for you. This is very interesting. Let's take a listen to Darren Cahill talking about why is it so hard for these guys who play tennis all the time, all their lives, all of a sudden, why can't they move on grass? Why is it different?
What about the small steps you're trying to push off?
It has to be lighter on your feet. So the very first step on grass can't be as forceful as what the second and third steps can be, because that's where all the slipping comes from. So you have to be a little bit carefully with that first step, and once you get your momentum going, then you can push as hard as you want.
Now, just look at that really quick. You see that patch where Stef is standing right now? That's where you don't have to do it. Darren Cahill will go on to say later, it matters like when you push off, when you accelerate too much on the grass. Are you hitting a leafy green patch, or are you hitting that dirty, worn down patch right in the middle of the baseline where the most movement has been happening? So that's what's getting worn. You know, by the time we get to the finals, if you watched Wimbledon before, you know the court's going to look totally different. It's going to be mostly torn up. In the old days, you'd see that happening not on the baseline, but straight ahead from where they would serve, going diagonally up and into the middle of the court on both sides. Anyways, obviously the sport is different now. So I thought that was interesting that Cahill was saying how, you know, your first step has to be soft, and then your second can be a little harder, and your third can be harder. And then by then, once you have your momentum going, you know, it's kind of like, it's like driving in the rain if you don't play tennis. You can't accelerate right away, but once you get going, then you can kind of accelerate like normal. And for me, an American who plays a lot of league tennis, and we only have hard courts here, it's kind of like playing in the rain. Sometimes your opponent or you yourself drove, 45 minutes to get to a match, and it starts raining, and you don't just stop it right away, even though it's starting to get a little dangerous. You kind of adapt and do something like what it sounds like you have to do on grass. I've only been on grass one time. We got the hit for like 10 minutes if I barely got to, and I actually managed to slip and fall in the few minutes that I was there because I'd never done it before. But hard courts, when they're wet, it's kind of the same thing. If you start moving fast right away, you're going to slip, and who knows, you could get injured. All kinds of things can happen when you slip. And then once you get going, you can move a little faster, obviously. And then slowing down also is another thing too. So I thought that was interesting. Tsitsipas, I think, is getting better at moving on the grass, you could say. And he obviously did a great job of moving around his backhand to constantly attacking. In the end, for Andy Murray, that big serve and that big forehand and all the talent, I thought Tsitsipas would be good on grass in the early days because he's so good at net. He has such a good feel at the net. He was able to put it all together, so I'm a little bit excited to see Tsitsipas play some more matches at Wimbledon. It'd be good for the sport if someone with superstar potential like him does start winning. Does he have a chance to beat Djokovic here? No. Moving on. This is the greatest. The other day, shameful. They were just, booing or whatever. They were giving Djokovic a hard time for maybe wanting to close the roof and check the grass to make sure it's not too slippery to play. The earlier, the more green it is, not the worn down parts, the more slippery it is when it gets a little wet. Listen to this. Darren Cahill and Chris Fowler talking about Medvedev on one of the smaller courts where they don't have a roof, starting to rain a little, and he's ready to get off the court. The umpire's like, well, maybe we can play on a little bit longer, and this is what Medvedev said.
What an even game. Yeah. But he said, if you don't stop, I'm going to call the trainer. He said, I hurt my knee, and he goes, is that the truth?
The umpire?
The umpire asked him, that's for you to decide.
That's why we love Danny Medvedev. Anyways, first we talk about our friends, now we talk about our enemies. I have to apologize for Taylor Fritz, right? I said there was no chance he was going to win against Hanfmann. And then he came back that next day, and he seemed very focused, and he got the win in that final set. I think they were on serve 2-3 when they came back. And last I heard, we're going to get a live look in from court number 18, or they stick guys like Taylor Fritz. Last I heard, Taylor Fritz was up 2 sets. Let's check in on him.
Look at that. I mean, he's just feeling it. And Fritz just has no answers.
No answers.
Completely deflated Fritz. He's looking over at his camp like, this is not part of the equation.
It's part of the equation for Emer, who's a match point now.
Certainly part of the equation for Emer. Match point.
I tell you, that is impressive.
That is impressive indeed.
Zero hesitation.
As he destroyed.
As he closes out the number 9 seed, the highest ranked American.
Taylor Fritz, the highest ranked American, number 9 seed. Hey, but you know what? It's understandable, right? Michael Emer, doesn't he have a reputation for this? Hasn't he been down 2 sets to love and come back like 10, 11 times? Isn't that him? Oh, that's first career comeback from 0-2 down. What a shame. What a shame for Taylor Fritz. Well, there's always next year, Fritzy. Okay, let's move on to one more of our enemies here. I love how I make everyone else complicit in it. Yes, all of us are enemies with Cam Norrie and Taylor Fritz. First, let's talk about the winner. Chris Eubanks asked a great question. Chris Eubanks, who used to play with this very racket, I think. Maybe not. Chris Eubanks, where'd you get inspired? Your one-handed backhand, your big serve, your aggressive play with the always attacking with the forehand, and that lovely slice backhand. Who inspired you, Chris Eubanks?
Who inspired you to play the brand of
Guess I didn't have
tennis
to
that you
phrase the
play?
question.
That
She's asking.
huge serve, you love coming to the net, the slice backhand, and the single-handed backhand. Who was your inspiration?
Who could it be?
Ironically enough, I watched a lot of Federer growing up. He was the guy that even to this day I still go back and try to find some of his old matches and just try to pick little things up, just to try to implement it to my game. I know he was a far better mover than I am, probably a lot better at net and just better at everything. But I try my best to just take little bits of various players and just try to implement them into my game and try to create a style of my own.
Now, notice right away, he didn't do what Cam Norrie did. When Cam Norrie compared himself to Rafa Nadal, he said, I'm just like Nadal. The only thing that him and Rafa Nadal appear to me to have in common is to be a high seed with high expectations at Wimbledon and go down unexpectedly early to a guy with a really big serve. That's one thing that him and Rafa are exactly the same on. So we'll give Cam Norrie that. But notice Eubanks didn't do that. He actually went on to say that, I copy Federer in some ways. I'm inspired by Federer, but Federer's a much better mover than me, obviously. His hands are much better than me at net. And then he said, and really, he's better than me at everything. So a little bit different than Cam Norrie there. But, that's why Cam Norrie got that nickname that I've been, saying for a long time now, Scam Norrie. The scam is this. He said to Gross Britannia, I can win Wimbledon. Buy this. I'm selling you this dream that I'm going to win Wimbledon. And as soon as you say okay, we believe you, Cam. You might win Wimbledon one day. You might be the next Brit after Andy Murray to win Wimbledon. As soon as you say that and you turn your back, that's when he strikes. That's when the long knife comes out. But luckily for us, there's no knife long enough to off Novak Djokovic. Hold on to your horses and your hats. It's Bierhall Freitag. Oh, I got a little Ambition Bier on das Hemd. Willkommen und herzlich willkommen und viel glücklich für alle on heutiges Edition of Bierhall Freitag. Today is a special day. It's Bierhall Freitag, and that's where, I imagine for you, drinking on the job is probably not okay. But here, it's totally fine. In fact, Mr. Goat endorses it. And so does Crunch Time Coaching. Crunch Time Coaching is very big on drinking on the job. Anyways, on a day like today on Bierhall Freitag, what we do is we read comments. Sometimes I just pick them randomly. I just draw a bunch of comments out of the hat. There's been a lot of great comments here because we have the highest tennis IQ fan base in the world. The highest tennis IQ fans exclusively watch tennis YouTube content at Coffee Break Tennis. Anyway, so, when I just reach into the hat and grab a bunch of comments, they're going to be fairly good, at least. First up, we don't have too much more to do today. We're going to look at my draw, talk about how good of a job I did picking picks. I mean, look at this. Out of the 32 men in the third round, I picked 21 of them correctly. That's pretty good. In the top half of the draw, I got 23 out of 32 matches, right? There's 64 matches on day 1, day 4, because of all the rain, I guess, in the first 4 days. Yeah, there's 64 matches. I picked the winner of the first round 64 matches 44 times out of 64. That's 23 out of 32 in the top half. And that's 21 out of 32 on the bottom half. So I'm pretty happy about that. But before we look at my draw, let's look at some comments, because it is Bierhall Freitag, where anyone's welcome with their opinion. Danik Adabik says, 9789, Noli said, this is in regards to Noli wanting to get out there and play the other day, and people acting like, oh, Djokovic doesn't want to play because he's some kind of drama queen or something. Noli said the officials were telling them that they would be back on court in 10 to 15 minutes. After that, they said 10 to 15 minutes. Again, it's kind of like when they delay your flight at the airport. It's just going to be 1 hour. It's just going to be 1 more hour. It's just going to be 15 more minutes. It's just going to be 3 more hours. It's just going to be canceled. We'll see you tomorrow. Anyways, It was going on several times, after which they decided to step on court and joke a bit to show the crowd that they actually wanted to play. The human side of Novak Djokovic. He is human like the rest of us. It was not him not wanting to play. It was all the officials telling him to wait. It is unbelievable how some people will find just about anything to hate on Novak. How sad. Truly sad. By the way, Dusan Lajovic, who I picked to win, and if I would have known this, I wouldn't have, was bedridden with the chicken pox for 3 weeks right before the tournament. In the spirit of Bierhall Freitag, we'll try to say it in German, was bedridden mit Hähnchenpoxen for 3 Wochen right before the tournament. He admitted that in the second set he felt drained. Also, this didn't happen, sadly, but it would be fun to watch. See, this is nice to have some experts out there that know things I don't know. I don't know the Russian language or the Serbian language very well. It would be fun to watch Medvedev versus Medjedovic. Both last names mean of a bear. They come from the people of the bears. I like that. Vladivovic, 8609. Djokovic is the greatest. Cheers, Matt. Cheers to you. Let's go to Funza Zagula. Did Mr. Goat pick these out? These are friendly ones. I like it on Bierhall Freitag when we get some angry people. You're the funniest tennis connoisseur in the planet. I love your show. Thank you. With 18 thumbs up. I like that. Dejan says, this is the most entertaining tennis channel right now. Appreciate the love for Novak too. Polila Films? Must be some Polish guy, some friend of Hubie Hurkacz. Dude, if we get Djoker versus Wawrinka, that'd be like Roger versus Rafa in French Open 2019. We want to see it even if we already know the outcome. But this time, it may be a little more interesting to see. Yeah, if he would have won that third set, could have got real interesting, although wouldn't be surprised if Stan wins the tiebreak, they come back the next day, and Djoker wins like 6-2. GF9262 says, I have no problem. Federer honored if the GOAT receives his well-deserved 2,000 ATP points. Yeah, give Djoker his points. I mean, don't worry, he's going to get him after he wins it again. They should give him 4,000 points this time, right? I love this picture of Scam Nori on top in his weird outfit. Anyways, turning into the one for BLN. Thanks, Wimbledon-Meister. I love it, Matt. I think Roger and Kate watching Andy, kind of a weird throwback. Yeah, let's finish. Knowing that Roger's record will be twilighted out by Novak shortly seems like Wimby nobility keeping Djoker as the little mouse, Serbian small southern European backwater that has roared and soared over the dapper Swiss Meister in the Wimby royal preference, Andy Murray. Roger is the most elegant and fluid of the big three, the große drei, but 2019 final was passing of the baton from Roger to Novak. It really was. Epic. Nole and Carlos coming out strong in round one. Rain in July. What's that all about? Thinks Zverev will make a deep run in quarterfinals of Zverev. Alcaraz should be very entertaining if Sasha can serve lights out and put pressure on Carlitos. Thanks, Matt. Best from Milan. One of my favorite cities in the world. Actually, I like Turin. Milan's cool, but I was only there for like 5 minutes. Anyways, love your podcast. Novak will win Wimbledon. From Dragon Radic. He is correct. Let's go to another one. Oh, so going back to that one, yeah, I think part of what was bothering me is why didn't they bring Federer out to celebrate to the Djokovic match? Because, and you might say like, well, obviously, Matt, they didn't do that because like, Roger doesn't want Djokovic to win, you would think, but they brought Sampras out. Now, I can't remember if it happened at Wimbledon when Federer passed his record of 14, but he was there for both. I remember seeing Sampras clearly there when Federer beat his record of most Wimbledons, I think. Pretty sure he was there. Either he was at both or he was at one of these, but for sure I saw Pete Sampras there when his record was broken. Rather it be total majors, 15 majors for Fed, 14 for Sampras, or beating his record of Wimbledon's. I want to say he was at both of them. So it wouldn't be that crazy to be like, here's your fellow big, because they even said during the broadcast something like, Roger Federer here to cheer on his fellow member of the Big Four. Now, we've talked about this in the past. The Big Four is really the Big Three. There is no Big Four because Murray has 3 majors, just like Wawrinka, and Roger, Rafa, and Djoker obviously have like over 60-something majors now, right? So he obviously isn't like on the same as them. But the reason why they called it the Big Four is because you have to remember, Stan would lose to a bunch of different guys. Delpo up and down all the time, mostly because of injuries. But Murray always showed up and beat everyone. He dominated the whole tour, just like Roger, Rafa, and Nole. The only problem for Murray was that he didn't beat those guys and win more majors. Anyway, so it's a little silly when you hear them say, like, Roger's here to cheer on his fellow member of the Big Four. How about Roger's there to cheer on his fellow member of the Big Three? Maybe he doesn't want him to win it, but when he does, he'll acknowledge, hey, we're even now. and maybe you'll even beat my record. And we're sportsmen. I'm just happy to be a member of the Big Three and a big part of tennis history. Anyways, maybe that's what was bothering me the other day. Roger should have been there for the Djoker match. And they even had like an excuse to get him out. I think they said Roger was at Elton John. They didn't say Roger wasn't here with Djokovic yesterday because of Elton John. They said, oh, Roger was at the Elton John show last night. I'm surprised he didn't have him come up on stage and shake a freaking egg with little tiny beads in it. Anyways, next comment. Vladimir Sikorsky says, as a Novak fan, I'm glad for Federer because if Novak wins this year in 2024, he would be the absolute number one at Wimbledon. Fed 8 titles, Novak 7, Fed 5 consecutive, Novak 4. Okay, so saying, yeah, that's the thing. People are not talking about that as much. Joker's going to tie Fed with 8 majors, 8 Wimbledons, but also Fed won 5 in a row before 2008. He was going to win 6 in a row, and then this guy called Nadal beat him in 2008. So Djokovic will tie Federer in 2 serious records that Federer has held alone for a long time now. And then if he wins again, he'll beat him in 2 massive records if he wins next year. Anyways, Fed 40 wins in a row, Djokovic 28. So even if Djokovic wins 2023, Fed would still have an advantage for most matches won. I don't know. I think that's another record that Djokovic maybe could get. If Novak is going to ski, probably and actually only COVID-19 stopped him to doing it this year, but it is like it is. Winning Wimbledon in 23 and 24 would make him the best ever in Wimbledon. And if you add one more and make it even 10, the biggest haters will shut up. Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Some experts have even said, I think Ivan Lubicic, right, the coach of Roger Federer, had said, I would like to see Djokovic win a few more majors to just end this conversation. It won't be a conversation anymore if Djokovic can win a few more majors. Dinjan Milicevic, Coffee Break Tennis, the most popular show in all of Serbia. A lot of names with Evic and Ovic at the end, I'm noticing here in the comments. Randomly grab them. Thanks for this. You know, I'm no Fadal fan, but I'm not a hater either. It was extremely distasteful. There's many of us that think so, and I hate how mainstream media, guided casuals, and Fed fans are calling us crazy. Then again, it's Novak, and I'm done pretending they are ever going to stop putting him down till the day he retires. Yeah, I don't think they will. They've decided that they don't like Djokovic, and I don't want to say it because you know how YouTube is, but the whole thing with the vaccines and stuff, that just like further cemented it. The media was definitely going to hate Djokovic forever when he went against them on that. Let's see. Forti Eski Sin. I'm having a hard time. At least this one looks kind of like Italian. Matt, that was perhaps the least disrespectful thing Novak heard on the courts. I most recently remember hearing over TV someone shouting at him curses during his second round match versus Kukakao at 2023 Australian Open. Something along the lines of, F you, Novak, you piece of S. I can't imagine any other sporting great like Federer being harassed throughout their career and the way Djokovic had and how they would handle playing all the career important matches in front of hostile crowds time and time again. You know, I was always wrong. I thought this is going to break Djokovic just like it would break any normal person. Djokovic obviously is not normal. I think it's made him stronger. All right, last one. Haider Raha. He's a Fed fan. He's watched Coffee Break Tennis a long time. I think you've put on the Djokovic shoes, Matt. Actually, I'm still wearing Federer-style Nikes and probably always will because that's what I'm used to playing in. Novak is trying his best to be liked. You are trying your best to prove your neutrality and get rid of the Fed bias claims people have made against you. Relax, I'm just joking. Having said that, I swear when I was watching the first day of Wimbledon, I felt like the sadness that you were talking about. Where's the rest? I think it's gone. I don't have any more. Well, he said he was only joking. But I will say, because somebody might agree with that and is not joking, I will say that I actually am genuinely liking Djokovic more and more, just seeing all the hate that he gets and how he stands up to it and keeps triumphing. And no one ever wanted him to succeed from the beginning over Roger and Rafa, myself included. And it's just hard. It's hard for me to see all the hate he gets, so it's made me a really big Djokovic fan. I pretty much watch him hoping he's going to win and worrying he's going to lose the same way I felt about Rafa and Fed and all the years that I've rooted for them. Anyways, all right, let's move on to the draw. I thought there was something else I wanted to comment about that he was saying in that comment. There was something that was interesting me. Oh, he said, watching the first day of Wimbledon, I felt the sadness that you were talking about too. Yeah, I don't know. You know, there's a lot of reasons to be mildly sad about this Wimbledon. And I just said, you know, I just gave up the ghost here. I've been really rooting for Djokovic, really enjoying watching him. So it's not that. It's not that there's no one there to challenge him. Maybe it's just that, I don't know. Maybe it's just that it's a weird time for tennis right now. And as we go through the draw, it'll become more apparent. And some of the guys that I've watched for so many years now are just not there anymore. And maybe that's part of it. You know, having Roger and Rafa not there. You know, I liked watching Murray, and I've never really been a huge Murray fan. But, you know, I kind of thought of him as a crybaby like Taylor Fritz in the early days. Although at least he was winning. You know, if you're winning, you earn it. You can be a little bit of a crybaby, and I don't care. If you're winning, you're winning. Like Johnny McEnroe, biggest crybaby ever, but one of the biggest winners ever, too. So we love him. Got to earn it, Taylor Fritz. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because, you know, a lot of the guys we're used to seeing are gone. Maybe it's because a lot of these guys are too young to really know how to play on grass yet. I don't know. Anyways, let's look at this draw. So, Carlos into the fourth round will play. Is he into the fourth? No, excuse me. I'm getting ahead of myself. So I nailed it. I mean, Carlos and Jari is going to happen. Zverev and the Demon is not going to happen. It's Berrettini. I think that makes it more interesting. Berrettini, we'll give him a little bit of a chance because he looks better than what we expected. But I still like Zverev coming through. I like Carlitos coming through Jari, but that'll be interesting. It's good for Carlitos. He's going to play a guy with a huge serve because it'll prep him a little bit for Zverev. Tiafoe and Grigor. Freaking nailed it, right? Got one wrong out of the first 6 guys here in the third round in top half. I got Grigor winning. I don't know. That's a tough call. I'd like Grigor to win because I like him. I like his game. I like looking at it more than I like looking at Tiafoe's forehand. I do think Tiafoe is an exciting player. I enjoy watching him as well, but you know, obviously I'm going to go with the baby fed, just like I'm going for Chris Eubanks, giant baby fed, super tall baby fed. David Ovich and Holger Rune. It's another tough one, but I'll go with Holger Rune still. I'm not very sure about this. See, the question mark. I put question marks when I'm not sure. I wasn't sure about who's going to win Carlos and Zverev in this fourth round. I think Zverev could give him a good match like we saw in a comment earlier. Medvedev and Fran Cerundolo didn't make it. I was wrong about that. He really got thumped. I was wrong about Tommy Paul coming through too. I mean, Raonic coming through. Tommy Paul came through. So what is it? Is it I guess we don't know if Meds is through yet. So I say Meds beats Fukovic. I nailed that one. I'll go with Tommy Paul over Lehechka. And Medvedev, I still like to come through the quarterfinals. It's hard to say above it. I guess Holger Rune over Grigor. But, you know, it's not a bad draw for Grigor. It's not a great one either. Tiafoe is more dangerous than in the past, for sure. Eubanks. Nailed it. This is a huge one. Eubanks over Norrie. Who would have picked that? Only here at Coffee Break Tennis. O'Connell comes through. So I was wrong about the Serbian dude who is of the bear like Medvedev. I wanted to see him come through. But no, that's not going to happen. O'Connell and Eubanks, that's a good draw for Eubanks. I think he can come through. I think Eubanks could beat Stef here too. Stef Tsitsipas, I mean. Jera, I really wanted to pick Jera. Who did I pick Jera to lose to? Oh, Maximo Crescio. So I got Big Ben coming through. And I thought for some reason I went with Cressy just because he hits 2 first serves. He always comes to net. It should work on an early round at Wimbledon as well. But Laslo Djere has proven himself to be good on grass in the past, so that's not a huge surprise. I kind of wanted to pick him because he's won recently on grass, whereas Cressy's been pretty bad. But Cressy has shown me in the past his game is good for grass, so I went with him because I trusted that. Anyways, doesn't matter. I think Steph can beat Jera, but I think Eubanks can come through there. So I'd love to see a Meds-Eubanks quarterfinal. Hit the music. We're going to get out of here. I could see Medvedev beating Carlos here. It's possible. I don't see Eubanks beating Medvedev. Sinner. We nailed it on that, except we were wrong about Kecmanovic, but I do like Sinner to come through to the quarterfinals still. I had a few things wrong there. Galan has come through there. I like Sinner to win. He's looking pretty good and not looking injured. He had some injuries recently. They obviously weren't super serious. Pella. A lot of people might not have picked him. I got him. And Borna Coric, certainly not like the best on grass, but I feel like he's had some wins on grass over the years. He should have had enough experience, but Pella likes the grass. RBA, that was probably my biggest swing and a miss. I had him going to the quarterfinals, so that's a lot of mistakes there. Who can blame me, though, with El Chapo coming through here? I had Radu Albat beating him. You know, it's funny. I just remembered I played a league match with a guy, and I found out he was really into tennis, watching tennis. Some people that play don't watch as much, they're just into playing it, but not watching it for some reason. Anyways, we were talking about tennis, and I was talking about the expectations for somebody, maybe it was Felix Auger-Aliassime, somebody like that, how like he's really fallen short of the expectations, or the other guy was talking about it. And then I brought up Shapo. I was like, remember how much expectations we had for him? And before I could even finish, the guy was like, fuck Shapo. I hate that. Like, he took it so personal. And it hit me. I was like, we all take it personal. When we like invest ourselves in a player and like, this guy's the future, he's going to be good. And then they just keep disappointing us and they keep losing early. It almost feels like an insult to you for believing. It's funny how tennis fans are. Anyways, I'm totally wrong on that section, but Shapo, it's a good draw for him now. It's opened wide up. Who's he got? He's got to play Safulin. This guy has had some wins on grass this year, so maybe that's helped him there. I guess I'd go with El Shapo, but I don't really believe in any of that, and we know Sinner's coming through the semifinal. Rublev over Karatsev, nailed it. I mean, this whole section I pretty much got right. That's crazy to get like every name in here right. I mean, I gotta brag for myself. This is unusually good. Anyways, Rublev, I think I got like 2 wrong picks out of this entire quarter of a draw. 2? Looking at not just in the first round, but 2 wrong out of all the matches? Am I really that good? Well, Djokovic is in this section, so that helps. It makes it easier. But yeah, Echeverry, Wawrinka, Jordan Thompson, Djokovic, stand to man. Nailed it all. Joker's going to play Hubie up next. That could be tricky. That could be harder than playing stand the man. Rublev and Bublik, that can be tricky, and I think Bublik is going to come through. I'm going to stick to what my original picks are here. Obviously, not with RBA, but I mean, this thing is almost perfect except for the bottom half of that quarter above, that upper quarter in the bottom half of the draw. Anyways, final picks here. Sinner's definitely coming through. Bublik over Rublev's not a guarantee, but I like his chances a lot. Hubie wins 1 set over Djoker. Djoker beats Sinner in 3. I don't know. I went into this tournament having little faith in Sinner this year. He's disappointed me too much this year, although he's won a lot this year too. He's won more matches than most players on tour, but still, we have high expectations for Sinner here. So I don't know if Djoker wins in 3, but I still like all this to happen, and let's just keep our fingers crossed that we get Carlos Alcaraz and Djokovic in the final. Don't forget, lay some comments down below. You never know what'll pop up next week when we return with another exciting edition of Bierhall Freitag. See ya!